political and the personal. That is the line many in South Florida find themselves riding, struggling with the terror attack, Israel's war on Hamas, the fate of the hostages, the involvement of the U.S., and one of the people immersed in that melding role is the White House's liaison to the Jewish community. And she is from South Florida, born, raised, and schooled right here. Shelley Greenspan is with us live from D.C. And full disclosure, for the record, Shelley's family in South Florida does include her mama, who is a longtime employee in the Local 10 family. That said, Shelley, it's so much fun to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Glenna.
So you have been in this position a little over a year. Boy, this must have been a changing role for you these couple of weeks. Please tell us about that.
Yeah, first, really thank you so much for having me. Look, I'm in DC right now, but South Florida raised me. Like you said, I grew up going to Channel 10 with my mom. I've seen the rallies at Hillel, my Jewish day school that I grew up going to. I've seen the rallies at Beth Shalom. I know the community organized that's taking place at Bose, where my dad is probably having breakfast right now. This situation is not only heartbreaking and terrifying, but it's also so personal to me and so many of those, especially the South Florida community. And, my heart goes out to everyone. And if I can just send one message, is that President Biden has your back, and we are focused on this nonstop.
Well, since you bring up the president, I know in the past couple of weeks you have been in the room where it happens, and that must be a pretty significant thing for you to be. You are not a policymaker, and yet you are out there kind of doing a shuttle diplomacy role, really, it sounds like, a diplomat, and bringing back messages to the White House. Share with us what you have advised or suggested, or let the White House know about what you're finding in the community.
Yeah, look, I've always taken my job as serving as the bridge between the American Jewish community and the administration very seriously. It's a responsibility that I'm honored to take on. Obviously, in the past 2 weeks, those responsibilities have been heightened. People are afraid right now. Like I said, this is very personal. There are individuals with loved ones who are taken hostage or passed away and killed because of the terrorist attacks in Israel. And I relayed all those concerns about growing anti-Semitism here domestically as well to the administration. And there's no one more pro-Israel who cares more about the Jewish community than President Biden. And, if I can speak from my personal perspective, this is a hard time for all of us right now. And I would say the only thing that's really giving me hope is the resiliency and the strength of the Jewish community, and also President Biden, his moral clarity and his commitment to Israel, which is nothing new. I think last week was his 11th time traveling to Israel, and it's the first time a president ever traveled to Israel during a time of war, which I think just speaks volumes to his commitment to the state of Israel, to the Jewish people. And so my role and my responsibility as serving as that bridge has become increasingly more important during these past few weeks.
The president also said this week something along the lines of, these were not his words, but what his message was don't react from emotion. Don't use your rage. Did that resonate with you at all?
I think if you're talking about his message of deterrence, he's pretty much made that clear. He's underscored a crystal clear message that any actor, non-state or state actor trying to take advantage of this conflict between Israel and Hamas, his clear messages don't. And I think that's why you've seen him deploying 2 aircraft carriers to the region and other military assets to the region. So he's been crystal clear in that message of deterrence.
You know that the American Jewish community is by no means monolithic. It is very diverse, a lot of diverse thoughts, opinions, perspectives. And what we've heard and seen in the past week is not only horror and outrage to this terror attack, but we've also seen a significant number of people in the Jewish community call for a ceasefire and to protect the civilians in Gaza. And I wonder if you have had any firsthand conversations with people who are not behind an all-out war to root out Hamas, and how you address that.
I will say, President Biden has made it really clear that we mourn every single loss of innocent life. And he's very much concerned about making sure that we send humanitarian assistance to Gaza right now. He's made it clear that the terrorist organization of Hamas does not stand for the Palestinian people. And I think you'll probably continue to see that in his messaging. But he's also made it clear that it's his first order of business that, Israel does have the right to self-defense, especially against a terrorist organization like Hamas. And I think that's why, he did travel to Israel during a time of war to make that very clear. I think, you've heard him say so many times, I stand with Israel, but he wanted to actually be standing in Israel when he sent that message.
Yeah, and I want to kind of hear, and I want our viewers to hear from you personally what you're experiencing when you hear these diverse voices, and how as a diplomat for the White House, you handle those, especially in the Jewish community, who may not agree.
Look, disagreement in the Jewish community is nothing new. I've been in this job now for over a year, and it's something that I embrace. I think diversity in the Jewish community is something that we should all be really proud of, and people come at this from different sides. All I can share is where the president is right now, and I don't want to get ahead of anything that he has said or anything where the administration is or isn't. We listen to everyone, and that is, I think, the beauty of our democracy. And I very much embrace the diversity of opinions within our Jewish community, especially within the building of the White House. And we encourage everyone to share their perspectives. But at the end of the day, the president is the one who sets the policy, and we stand behind that.
And you work at the moment for a Democratic White House. There is an enormous Republican Jewish community who might have very different views. Do you bring any messages back and sort of play that diplomat at the White House and suggest and advise and for the messages you're receiving from the other side of the aisle?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is a lot of unity in the Jewish community right now, and you're probably seeing it in South Florida as well. People really putting aside their political differences to support the state of Israel and support the U.S.-Israel relationship, support the Jewish community right now, and it's been beautiful. Just this past week, we had a group of Orthodox Jewish day school students come from New York, and they dropped off 18,000 individual handwritten letters thanking President Biden for his support of Israel. And they came to DC. They traveled 5 hours by bus just to drop off these letters. And they come from families, across the political spectrum. And I think it's really a time that we need this unity right now, because the most important thing is support for Israel and making sure the U.S.-Israel relationship is as strong as possible. And it's been very heartening to see individuals, Democrats, Republicans, Independents come together and make that message really clear.
Shelley Greenspan, great to have you on our program today, and great to have you there in the White House, a nice South Florida connection to the Jewish community. Please do keep in touch with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course.